Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ve bihi nesta'in. Elhamdülillahi Rabbil alemin. Ve salatu ve selamu ala seyyidina Muhammedin ve ala alihi ve sahbihi ecma'in.
In the name of Allah, the Merciful, the Compassionate, and from Him do we seek help. All praise be to Allah, the Sustainer of all the worlds, and blessings and peace be upon our Master Muhammad, and on all his family and companions. The 12th word.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. وَمَنْ يُؤْتَ الْحِكْمَةَ فَقَدْ أُوتِيَ خَيْرًا كَثِيرًا.
In the name of Allah, the Merciful, the Compassionate, and he who has been given wisdom has been given great good. This word consists of a brief comparison between the sacred wisdom of the all-wise Quran and the wisdom of philosophy and science, and a concise summary of the instruction and training which Quranic wisdom gives to man in his personal life and social life, and an indication of the Quran's superiority to other divine words and to all speech. There are 4 principles in this word. First principle. Look through the telescope of the following story, which is in the form of a comparison, and see the differences between Quranic wisdom and that of philosophy and science. One time, a renowned ruler, who was both religious and a fine craftsman, wanted to write the all-wise Quran in a script worthy of the sacredness in its meaning and the miraculousness in its words, so that its marvel-displaying stature would be arrayed in wondrous apparel. The artist king therefore wrote the Quran in a truly wonderful fashion. He used all his precious jewels in its writing. In order to indicate the great variety of its truths, he wrote some of its embodied letters in diamonds and emeralds, and some in rubies and agate, and other sorts in brilliants and coral, while others he inscribed with silver and gold. He adorned and decorated it in such a way that everyone, those who knew how to read and those who did not, were full of admiration and astonishment when they beheld it, especially in the view of the people of truth, since the outer beauty was an indication of the brilliant beauty and striking adornment in its meaning. It became a truly precious antique. Then the ruler showed the artistically wrought and bejeweled Quran to a European philosopher and to a Muslim scholar. In order to test them and for reward, he commanded them, "Each of you write a work about the wisdom and purposes of this." First the philosopher, then the scholar composed a book about it. However, the philosopher's book discussed only the decorations of the letters and their relationships and conditions, and the properties of the jewels, and described them. It did not touch on their meaning at all, for the European had no knowledge of the Arabic script. He did not even know that the embellished Quran was a book, a written piece, expressing a meaning. He rather looked on it as an ornamented antique. He did not know any Arabic, but he was a good engineer, and he described things very aptly. And he was a skillful chemist and an ingenious jeweller. So this man wrote his work according to those crafts. As for the Muslim scholar, when he looked at the Quran, he understood that it was a perspicuous book, the all-wise Quran. This truth-loving person neither attached importance to the external adornments, nor busied himself with the ornamented letters. He became preoccupied with something that was 1,000,000 times higher, more elevated, more subtle, more noble, more beneficial, and more comprehensive than the matters with which the other man had busied himself. For discussing the sacred truths and lights of the mysteries beneath the veil of the decorations, he wrote a truly fine commentary. Then the two of them took their works and presented them to the illustrious ruler. The ruler first took the philosopher's work. He looked at it and saw that the self-centered and nature-worshipping man had worked very hard, but he had written nothing of true wisdom. he had understood nothing of its meaning. Indeed, he had confused it and been disrespectful towards it, and ill-mannered even. For supposing that the source of the truths, the Quran, to be meaningless decoration, he had insulted it as being valueless in regard to meaning. So the wise ruler hit him over the head with his work and expelled him from his presence. Then he looked at the work of the other, the truth-loving, scrupulous scholar, and saw that it was an extremely fine and beneficial commentary, a most wise composition, full of guidance. "Congratulations! May Allah bless you," he said. "Thus wisdom is this, and they call those who possess it knowledgeable and wise." As for the other man, he was a craftsman who had exceeded his mark. Then in reward for the scholar's work, he commanded that in return for each letter 10 gold pieces should be given him from his inexhaustible treasury. If you have understood the comparison, now look and see the reality. The ornamented Quran is this artistically fashioned universe, and the ruler is the pre-eternal, all-wise one. As for the two men, one, the European, represents philosophy and its philosophers, and the other, the Quran and its students. Yes, the all-wise Quran is a most elevated expounder, a most eloquent translator of the mighty Quran of the universe. Yes, it is the criterion which instructs man and the jinn concerning the signs of creation inscribed by the pen of power on the pages of the universe and on the leaves of time. It regards beings, each of which is a meaningful letter, as bearing the meaning of another. That is, it looks at them on account of their maker. It says how beautifully they have been made, how exquisitely they point to their maker's beauty, thus showing the universe's true beauty. But the philosophy they call natural philosophy or science has plunged into the decorations of the letters of beings and into their relationships, and has become bewildered. It has confused the way of reality, while the letters of this mighty book should be looked at as bearing the meaning of another, that is, on account of Allah. They have not done this. They have looked at beings as signifying themselves. That is, they have looked at beings on account of beings, and have discussed them in that way. Instead of saying how beautifully they have been made, they say how beautiful they are, and have made them ugly. In doing this, they have insulted the universe, and made it complain about them. Indeed, philosophy without religion is a sophistry divorced from reality, and an insult to the universe.